This stuff's long. This stuff is long. This test is long. This chapter's long. This test will be long. See how it works? It's long. It's long. All right, mechanical injury. Mechanical injury. Force or mechanical energy in which that changes the state of rest or uniform motion of matter. So, like if I'm cruising along, I'm uniform motion, right? Boom! Somebody hits into me. I know, I lost my eye. But somebody, if I run into somebody, the uniform motion is now not so uniform, is it? If I'm at rest, standing at the batter's box, and the ball comes in and hits me in the elbow, yeah, you already know to say out. It's a mechanical injury. When a force is applied to any part of the body and results in a harmful disturbance in function and or structure, a mechanical injury is said to have been sustained. So what can cause a mechanical injury? All sorts of stuff. Yeah, that right there, I can cause a mechanical injury. Ball. Yeah, another person, which usually is what it is. Trauma. Trauma is defined as a physical injury or wound sustained in sport and produced by an external or internal force. How can you get it to produce from an internal force?
How can you get it to
Let's
produce?
sit down. Huh?
How can you get it to produce from an internal?
Yeah. Well, pull your hamstrings. Pull your hamstrings. Your quads were too strong for your hamstrings. It caused an internal force to cause the injury. Now you got trauma to your hammy. From an external force, we know how that is. Baseball, football, whatever, person. So let's talk about skin injuries. Yes, a friction blister. If I sit there and just continuously rub and rub and rub and rub and rub, fire up, fire up. I was doing cheerleader cheer. All right, sort of like when you shoe. You guys go to Disney, go to Six Flags, you got a tight pair of shoes that are too tight, you don't have your socks on right, and it just keeps rubbing and rubbing and rubbing. And by the time you're ready to go to lunch, you've got a blister on your heel. Rubbing over the surface of the skin causes a collection of fluid below or within the epidermal layer, and that's called a
Yeah,
a what?
friction blister.
Called a blister. Where are you? Called a blister.
Yeah.
Anybody ever run on asphalt? Fall down? That little scar right there was an abrasion. When I was in 4th grade, I was running. We were running on the parking lot, and I fell down, and my arm got caught underneath me, and it scraped my arm up. That's an abrasion. Where else might you find an abrasion in sports? Right? When you do what? When you slide wrong on your knee. Hey, how about next year? Do you think we better know how to take care of abrasions? Why? Because of the turf. Exactly. So an abrasion is where the skin is roughed up and scraped up against a rough surface. So the epidermis, the outside of your skin, and the dermis are worn away, exposing numerous capillaries. So we had really bad turf at Baylor when I was there, and they would always come in with turf burns. And this one girl, she just got her kicks by going and getting the scrub brush, putting betadine on it, and just scrubbing those guys' turf burns. Like this hard. No. And she would tell them, shut up and quit whining and you continue to do it. Well, here's the whole thing. You already got some damage, right? You got some damage there because you got the abrasion. Exactly. Why do more? No need in doing more. We're not here to hurt people, contrary to somebody's belief. Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? All right, that's not a skin bruise, that there's a laceration, but a skin bruise is when a blow compresses or crushes the skin surface and produces bleeding under the skin, also known as a contusion. And you can see what? Well, purple, and then it turns yellow when it starts to heal. Yeah, we can do that to anybody. You sit there, boom. I wouldn't hit you. You, on the other hand, she will. Laceration. It's a wound in which the flesh has been irregularly torn. Where can you see this in sports?
Oh, when you clean yourself. Oh, yeah.
Yes, you can see it in track, or if she's sliding into second base, she's got her spikes up and flying, and that other person has the glove down, might put a laceration on her arm. How about in football? Yeah, the helmet, the clips on their helmet, they go to wrap up and just tear open some skin. You got to. There's only three things that I carry. When I'm on the sidelines, I'm not carrying one of those great big bags, right? Gloves, gauze, and Powerflex. If I need to do anything else, if they're damaged worse than that, I'm going to take them to the trunk anyway. I can put the gauze on there and cover it in Powerflex for a laceration. I can do it for an abrasion, whatever. So let's go to the next thing. All right, avulsion. You will learn this word not just for skin avulsion, but also for bone avulsion. Avulsion means that something's been torn off. So you hit the skin, you get a laceration, and the skin comes off. No, not like picking a scab. Skin that is torn by the same mechanism as the laceration to the extent that the tissue is completely ripped from its source. So many moons ago, when I would really, really, really sleepwalk, all right? Yeah, I used to bad, really bad. Now I just talk. So I was walking, and the lights were off, and I hit the television that had rabbit ears. All right? You know, the antennas? Well, the inside of those antennas are hollow. It's just a big metal tube. And this particular antenna had been broken. So it was open, and it was sharp. And it came, and it took out a chunk of skin. And I looked down in there. I could find the skin. Yeah, but I was bleeding like crazy. I had to that's an avulsion. So incision. Where do you normally hear the word in the operating room or in the doctor's office? Nurse, I need a scalpel. Why? I'm making an incision. So it's skin that's been sharply cut. Again, that can happen with helmets. Matter of fact, I've actually heard of that. I've never seen it, but I've heard the old wives' stories. The helmet clips where they put their buckles on, the chin strap. I've actually heard of some teams that would take them and sharpen them so that when they would go and tackle, they'd get an incision and do it purposefully. But I've never seen it. I've never seen a picture of it. So as far as I mean, we probably should put it up to MythBusters, but they quit making shows. Puncture. Skin is penetrated by a sharp object, like stepping on a nail. Huh? Now, what's so bad about a puncture? Well, what's one of the great things about when you cut yourself? You bleed. And why is that so great?
It's out.
So some of the dirt comes out with it. A puncture, you put the dirt in and then it's stuck. So it doesn't bleed enough. But skin is penetrated by sharp objects. All right. We talked about contusions. What did we call it before? A skin what? Skin bruise. It's very similar to what a contusion is. It's a bruise received by sudden trauma. And it can be superficial to deep. Superficial. What is that? Yes. Closer to the skin. Oh, his wound was really superficial. Oh, that bruise is really rather deep. So we see this in athletics when we see on a thigh, on a bicep, they can be debilitating. Strains. Now, let's see what we got next. We don't have it next, but let's talk about strains. Notice how it's spelled. You got this one? Can you tell me how it's spelled? No. Strains. What's the big one in there? T. For tendon. And tendon connects to muscles. So it's a stretch, tear, rip in the muscle or adjacent tissue, which is your fascia or tendon. Can you strain your ligament? No, because it's not one of those. It's not muscle, fascia, or tendon, is it? Most often produced by an abnormal muscular contraction. So don't come now. One place I used to work, they used to always go to this one chiropractic place, and they would say, Joey can't play because he has a sprain/strain to his knee. And I'm like, we don't treat them the same way. Which one is it? Frankie can't come because he can't play because he got a sprain/strain to his ankle. Which one is it? And even though I bring it up, they would continue to get the notes like that. All right, muscle soreness. From overexertion and strenuous muscular exercise, it often results in muscular pain. As you get older, it's easier to achieve your soreness. You need to know the difference between these two. Acute. Acute means right then. Acute onset soreness accompanies fatigue, occurs during and immediately following exercise. And then your delayed, which is obviously delayed, onset soreness. It's most intense 24 to 48 hours, and then it gradually subsides. Then you can get muscle stiffness, which doesn't have pain. You're just walking around, you're just stiff. There's not a whole bunch of pain with this, and it occurs with group that has been worked hard for a long period of time. Muscle becomes swollen, shorter, thicker, and it resists stretching. And we will definitely get into these when we get into environmental concerns, which is muscle cramp. And it can be related to hard conditioning and is a continuous contraction of the muscle, primarily brought on by not taking care of your body's nutritional needs. If you sweat, you lose electrolytes. And people think, well, if I'm dehydrated, all I got to do is put water in to hydrate. That is so wrong. You have to add in your electrolytes with that, either by eating them or by drinking them. One of you get where? Dehydration headaches? Start hydrating. Well, your headaches, those headaches will be caused by not having enough fluids. You will be dehydrated. Essentially, that's what a hangover is. It is. Alcohol is a diuretic. Alcohol does. Yes. So, so anyway, yeah, if you have that, but you can be hydrated, but yet not have your electrolytes. What is it?
What's the difference between the Gatorade that we have and the little pack?
Nothing.
The same thing.
They're saying it's just all you're just adding more to it. All right, muscle guarding. This is cool stuff. All right. One of the fun things that my wife, she's an athletic trainer also. So we watched the football game, and of course, because fantasy football, she's in our league. She didn't do too well this year. She was next to last place. Terrible. But so we watched football together, and our funnest part is when somebody gets really smeared on the field and they get hurt. Because then we're taking the DVR and go, stop it, pause, back up, okay, forward, slow motion, right there, right? So you get the guy who gets the shoulder injury, and he's walking off like this, okay? That's muscle guarding. You're using the muscles to guard the injury, okay? Because you normally don't walk with one ear filled with a shoulder. Normally, come off the field, you're fine. But if you're holding things up, it's muscle guarding. Following an injury to the muscle or the muscle surrounding the injury contract to, in effect, splint the injury. And it's to help minimize the movement to that injured area. It's amazing what you can learn about watching someone who gets hurt. If it's their ankle or their knee, they don't necessarily grab their ankle or knee. They crawl away from it, trying to get away from the pain. And it's not that they think about it, it just happens. Uh-oh, here's our itis. What is itis? I-T-I-S. There. Something swollen. Something swollen. It's a song. It was out in the 60s. Itis is something swollen. It was a real good hit. Can you tell? Itis. Something swollen. You got tonsillitis? What's swollen? Exactly. You got appendicitis? What's swollen? Your appendix. Right. You got tendinitis? What's swollen? You got myositis? What's swollen? That's right, because myo means muscle. It is myo here, not mayo. And so it's not that we have swollen condiments. We have a swollen muscle. And they might, yeah, probably. All right, what's fasciitis? Is that Stalin who's really swollen because he was fascist? I know, that's way over your head, right? Yeah. It's your fascia. Fascia. Fascia is between your skin and the tissue that's deeper. Okay. Anybody deer hunter? Yeah. You ever skin a deer? Start crying. Okay.
It goes my dad, but
It's not sad. It's not. Well, they don't have to, but at the same time, you can see that there's that tissue in between the skin and the carcass, fascia. All right. So myositis and fasciitis, two different things because they're two different words. One is swollen muscles. So myositis is inflammation of muscle tissue, and fasciitis is where it's inflammation of the fascia. And you can get plantar fasciitis on your feet, which should not be on the tables. And it hurts when you get out of bed in the morning. Your feet just feel like a little leprechaun stabbing you. I don't know why I always pick the leprechauns either. Yeah, because they're itty bitty. So fascia supports and separates muscle tissue and can become inflamed. Tendinitis, usually with a gradual onset from repeated microtraumas with swelling and pain. Anybody watch baseball? I mean Major League Baseball? Nobody watches Major League Baseball? Have you ever heard of a guy named Nolan Ryan? You've never heard of Nolan Ryan.
Yes, baseball player. Nolan Ryan.
Pitcher. Does he get to pitch? When he was pitching, did he pitch every day? Every game. Did he get to pitch every game? Because the way I'm saying it is a no. No, he didn't pitch every game. Why?
I don't know. I can't get that out. I'm like,
He threw fastballs at 104 miles an hour. All right. What's the difference between micro and macro? Smaller and bigger. So we start off with micro traumas. We take that arm and we throw it as hard as we can with a baseball in it. You're going to cause little bitty tears in your tendons and in your muscles. All right? Let's do it 110 times. Now you got 110 micro traumas. Let's do it tomorrow. Do you think you've had time for the little bitty tears to heal? No. But we're going to do it not just tomorrow, but we're also going to do it the next day. And so that's where pitchers have to pitch one day, and they're either on a 4-day or a 5-day rotation. Means they pitch. If it's a 3-person or a 4-person rotation, then 3 other people pitch before he pitches again. They got a 4-day or a 5-day rotation. 4 other people will start before he throws again, because those starting pitchers will throw 100, 120 pitches during a game, and the relievers come in and finish it off 40 pitches. Their micro traumas are not near as significant as what the starting pitcher is. But if we do this over and over, we're going to get tendinitis. And if we ignore the pitchers that end up with tendinitis, then we have a serious problem. So tendinitis is inflammation of the tendon, has gradual onset, and it's repeated micro traumas. Now, who wants to attempt this word? All right, and I'll tell y'all what. If you guys would give me your resumes, I will certainly give them to HEB and to Kroger to see if you can get a job in the meat department. Because if you can butcher a cow the way you're butchering this word, you guys will be able to make steaks. All right, I can do this with my eyes closed. Tenosynovitis. Tenosynovitis. All right. Now let's find out. What do we know when we see the word tenosynovitis? Something is swollen. Something to do with tendons. How about the synovial sheath around the tendon? So there's the muscle, great big muscle. It comes down and it turns into the little tendon that's attaching to the bone. All right? So around the tendon itself is synovial sheath. And that sheath itself can get swollen. So you get inflammation on the synovial sheath surrounding a tendon. It's usually rapid onset and can become thickened with pain and articular crepitus present during movement. What's crepitus? Obviously, it's not something swollen, because that would be crepititis. All right. Crepitus is when you move something and you feel the grittiness. You can hear it sometimes. All right? I'm trying to see if I can get a little crepitus going in his elbow. Yeah, a little bit. So it's like sandpaper in there. It feels gritty. All right? So if you tape somebody's ankle too tight around their Achilles tendon, you can very well set off tenosynovitis. So it's important that you take care of your taping skills. Oh, here's a big word. Ectopic. Where have we also heard the word ectopic? What's ectopic? Exactly, an ectopic pregnancy. What happens in an ectopic pregnancy? Yeah, yeah. The little fish comes up, hits the egg, and it's in the tube. It does not allow the egg to fall into the womb. So it attaches, the fetus then attaches inside the tubes. It's not viable. So what that is a pregnancy in the wrong place. That's what ectopic means. It's in the wrong place. And we get calcification in the wrong place. Calcification is where we get bone. So we got wrong place bones, essentially. So located in a place different from normal. So your voluntary muscles can become chronically inflamed and result in myositis. Myositis is Inflammation of the muscle. So we got some inflammation going on. And so we constantly let that happen over and over and over. It just won't heal. So the body says, well, fine, if you don't want to let me heal, I'll just throw in some calcium. It'll heal then. No, not really. Myositis ossificans can occur in a muscle that lies directly over the bone. And that's where you get a bone, a calcium deposit that happens inside the muscle. Happens in hamstrings, now and then in the quads. You see it in the. I had a kid who was y'all's age. He was, no, he's probably senior. Got hit in the elbow or in the biceps, but he just kept blowing it off, saying, oh, I'm fine, I'm fine. Didn't come in to get treatment, and then about week 9, he comes in, he says, hey, feel my muscle. I said, what you do? Put a golf ball in there? And that's what it feels like. A huge mass of golf ball, which is calcium. Good question. I love that. Yeah. But here's the whole thing. If you do it too soon, it grows right back. You got to wait a year. You got to wait a year. So meanwhile, what you got to do is you got to try and protect them. He had to wear an extra pad, tape it on. Functionally, he was fine. Probably was a little weaker, but then he finally got it cut out. Huh? No. They just go in, excise it, sew you back up, and hope that it doesn't come back. All right. If you don't use it, you lose it. Let me see what we got. Yes, this would be good. We're going to stop on this one. Atrophy and contracture. All right. So, anybody ever have to wear a cast? You did? What'd you have a cast on? On your arm all the way. And so, how long did you wear your cast? Months. So when you finally got that cast out and you flaked off all that skin, and washed it, and finally looked at it, what was up with your arms?
One was Tanner.
One was quite a bit bigger, wasn't it? So what about your range of motion? Did you have to fight to get it back? Yeah, if you're here, that bicep is not only going to get smaller that way, beach muscle wise, but it also gets shorter. So which one's atrophy? Atrophy. Atrophy is where you get a wasting of the muscles. So they're not as thick. All right? The contracture is where she had a problem getting that arm to go straight again, because not only does it shrink in size, it also gets shorter. So if you don't use it, you lose it. Hey, if I don't stretch my arm out, and if any of you want to, we can put a cast on you for the last 2 months of school for an example. Is anybody game?
I don't want to be that white.
Yeah, I don't know. Contracture, the abnormal shortening, well, actually it's normal, but it's shortening of the muscle tissue in which there's a great deal of resistance to pass the stretch. Huh? You really want to do it, huh? No.